Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. As you can see behind me, it's doing what it's been doing here for the last 3 or 4 days. It just rains, so there's gonna be a little background noise. I apologize. We were gonna have a pretty slow day from what I thought today, but we're not. It got busy quick. Big news, CVF front runner kit going on the motor that was that mint green color. So that'll be the bulk of the video today. Will be unboxing the kit, getting everything laid out, making sure everything is in the box. Sometimes they forget things, and show you how to put one on. The instructions are terrible, so hopefully I'll be able to help anybody that's struggling with those. 2 motors in the back. They're both these 5.3s that we've been messing with off and on. Got a few things to do on them. I'm not looking forward to it because they have no bolts or anything. We got to round up bolts. Gonna put a new oil pump on one, and then like I said, just a few other things. So we'll see what we can get done. All right, we got everything unboxed, and just like kind of a normal deal, we're missing the pulley that would go on the water pump. Couple phone calls, and they just kind of forgot it. They're gonna be sending it in another shipment. So other than that, we got everything else, so we can start to assemble the kit and get it put on the motor. So we'll start by one of the first things I normally do is the alternator comes with the a pulley on it that you don't need. So I'm not sure why they just don't do it there where they ship it, but they don't. They send you the one you need. So what I usually do is just get a rag, so you don't want to cut yourself. Put it around the alternator fan itself. This is a 15/16. Just get your impact. So you're going to keep the nut. You're going to keep the lock washer. You don't need this at all. So in the kit, it comes with a another alternator fan. And the serpentine pulley. So then you just put your lock washer back on and your nut. The next thing we'll do is go ahead and just, the bulk of the kit is the water pump, the bracket, and this adapter. Now what they send factory OEM water pump gaskets, which is great. This goes between the adapter and the motor. Now between the water pump and the adapter, they send these cheap paper gaskets that you would have to apply silicone to. So we don't use those, we toss them out, and we go with more of a nicer metal O-ring seal gasket. So for this, you're gonna wanna get your spacers. There's 6 spacers. And then your 6 long Allen heads. The spacers are going to go here on the pump. And then the bracket, what the bracket does is it slides down, it sits just like this on top of the spacers. So they just kind of sandwich in there. So now we're going to take our gaskets that we provide, slip them on the back side of the pump. Then you'll get your spacer, line that up with the bolts. And then we'll get our factory OEM gaskets. The bolts will kind of thread in these, and it kind of helps hold everything together for you. And that's what you end up with. So it's just kind of, everything's just kind of sandwiched in there, and then you'll mount this on the motor. So this is pretty much the hardest part of installing one of these kits, is just holding all this up there, especially if you're by yourself, and getting the bolts started. Just kind of line them up, start just getting them threaded, started in. So once you get enough threaded in, you can take a little break. It's kind of heavy holding it up there while you're getting them screwed in. The rest of the kit is actually pretty straightforward, pretty easy. Next, we're going to go ahead and install the idler. The idler gets the regular bolt that's on the Allen head, flat washer, and then it gets a lock nut on the back side. It's actually threaded, so it will thread in, and then you still put the lock nut on the back. Next, we're going to install the power steering pump. This power steering pump gets the two Allen heads that have a little bit of a shank to them. The rest of the Allen heads left in the kit, except for one very long one, they're all threaded. This particular kit has a remote reservoir pump. The other kits come with a reservoir mounted to this pump. It goes right here on the back side of this, and then these just thread through. All right, next we're going to go ahead and install the alternator. It gets one long Allen head bolt and one small one. The big one goes, or the longer one goes in the bottom. The small one goes on the top. It threads into the alternator. The large one on the bottom goes all the way through, and then you end up with another lock nut on the back side. Next, we're going to install the AC compressor. Just make sure when you're installing it, that where the lines hook up, your hookup's going to be at the top. Two bolts almost look the same. Short one goes at the top. The little bit longer one goes at the bottom. Once you get both those tight, it does get a little cap nut that goes on the back. This cap nut goes on the bottom of the bolt on the AC, bottom bolt on the AC compressor. It doesn't really do anything, in my opinion, because it threads in, but this is where it goes. Install the belt tensioner. It goes right here. These two pins just line up in the holes. Then this threads all the way through into the bracket, just a long Allen head bolt. All right, after you get the tensioner tightened, it also gets a lock nut on the back side of it. This is the second kit I've gotten where they forget to send this. So luckily we have extras. Next, we'll go ahead and install the fittings for the AC lines. So right now there's just a protective cap on there that you'll have to unscrew. Just like that, comes off. You throw this away. Don't need it. Make sure both your O-rings are still down. They're still on here. All right, next we're going to go and put on the power steering pump pulley. All right, now we're going to install the crank pulley hub adapter. Comes with a brand new bolt. It's a 15/16, so we're going to just impact this on. Next, we'll install the AC compressor pulley cover. Tensioner cover. Alternator pulley cover. Idler pulley cover. So we got an issue with the crank pulley. This is another problem we have sometimes with CVF. Supplied bolts that are supposed to go to the crank pulley do not fit. They did not drill the crank pulley out enough for the bolts. So, more time and effort for me to put on their kit. Alright, so instead of drilling that one out, we went down to the Swap King and just got another pulley. And then he'll send that one back since CVF didn't use the right drill bit when they drilled it. So, we know this one's going to work. So just like that, 3 bolts. And as far as we can go on this one because we're waiting on the water pump pulley to come in. All right, so there's a look at the kit, how it went on, how this spacer goes on. All right, so we're gonna do both these motors have D.O.D deletes already done. There's no D.O.D lifters in.
Correct.
So this one has the LT5 cam, and you're gonna put what are these? These block the oil galley? Is that what it is? Is it oil block off?
All block offs.
Okay.
This is where the oil goes in, and used to work the D.O.D, the lifters, which is.
Yeah, they're out now, right?
Yep.
So yeah. So you block these off so you don't lose oil pressure.
And the way you do this, you line them up. Then you hit it with this, just a regular ball peen hammer. Till you hear that snap. When you hear that, you know you're in far enough.
Okay, that's easy enough.
Now, there's no pan on this motor.
No.
At the moment. If there was, I'd have something in here to catch one in case it popped out on me. So
What we're gonna do is here's a valley cover here, and what it does is oil comes up through here, and it goes through these actuators that's controlled by the computer, and those send oil back down into those holes that we plugged, and that's what does your drops out your cylinders for your displacement on demand. So what we got is a brand new oil pump. And on a new pump, you don't have to worry about the alignment issues you do with an old pump. The old pumps, we have a tool, or basically it's just a placeholder that bolts. What happens is if you're you're putting your old pump back on, they get seasoned. If you can see how this has some play where it can kind of move around. So they get seasoned where they want to be in one spot. So if you were to put an old pump on and not put it exactly back in the position it was in, it can cause you some issues. With this pump being brand new, you don't have to worry about any of that. You just bolt it on. So it comes with new bolts. Hardest part about getting these done is lining the pump up. I'm gonna use an old crank bolt, and what we're gonna do is we're just gonna spin this motor while the bolts are still just hand tight, just to make sure everything's centered up correctly. All right, I'm happy with that. And then these are 18 foot-pounds. And there it is, that's it. Putting on a brand new oil pump. Appreciate everybody's subscriptions. We hit, I think, 120 subscribers, which is, for me, that's pretty amazing. I probably thought I'd have about 10. So it's been pretty cool so far. Looking forward to doing more.